Imagine an ancient warrior with the imposing figure of a Greek Apollo and the brute strength of a Zeus. That was Mariusz Dominator Pudzianowski, a name that echoes in the history of strength. This Polish giant was not only crowned the world's strongest man 5 times, a record he still holds today, which catapulted him into the elite of strength sports, but also became a living legend. But for Mariusz, lifting trucks, dragging airplanes, and bending steel bars wasn't enough. His indomitable spirit yearned for a greater challenge. In search of a new odyssey, Pudzianowski did the unthinkable. He traded iron weights for combat gloves. What seemed like madness to many became the beginning of one of the most astonishing transitions in sports history. How did this Polish colossus transform into a true MMA titan, shattering every stereotype about bodybuilders and strongmen in real fights? Get ready for a story of raw power, strategy, and awe. From an early age, Mariusz immersed himself in the brutal world of strength training. His iron discipline and privileged genetics quickly took him to the top, not just as a local star, but as the most dominant strongman on the planet. He was a master of functional strength, with a surprisingly strong cardiovascular capacity for his size, which allowed him to perform in long-duration events. However, his ambition knew no bounds. With a body sculpted like a majestic living statue, he felt it was time to face a completely new challenge: mixed martial arts. No one doubted Mariusz Pudzianowski's power. The question was, how would that raw strength translate into a real fight where technique, endurance, and the ability to take hits were crucial? On December 11, 2009, at the KSW 12 event, the world would get its first answer. His MMA debut was against fellow countryman Marcin Najman, a boxer and kickboxer with some experience under cage rules. Najman, a tough guy, wanted to be the one to break the mountain of muscle, but the strongman had other plans for his opponent in the cage. Pudzianowski, aware that his MMA technique was still in its infancy, relied on what he did best: his phenomenal strength. Round 1, the bell rang, and Mariusz charged like a rhinoceros with an intensity rarely seen in a debut. He unleashed a relentless series of low kicks, hammering Najman's legs as if they were American footballs. The power behind each strike was colossal.
Ależ jest zdeterminowany Mariusz Pudzianowski. Ale mocny low kick w jego wykonaniu. Kłopoty!
Najman tried to keep his distance, but Pudzianowski's pressure was suffocating. Despite his lack of technical finesse, every blow from Mariusz felt like a sledgehammer. He quickly took Najman to the ground and unleashed a storm of ground-and-pound strikes. Najman's defense crumbled.
Low kicki to wymyślił Mirek Okniński. Mariusz, ametyzmy spadają na głowę Neymara. Mariusz Pudzianowski okłada Neymara.
The referee, seeing the brutality of the beating, was forced to step in and stop the massacre. Najman's ticket to the infirmary was only avoided thanks to the quick intervention of the ref, who barely managed to halt the Titan's onslaught in the ring. Victory by TKO in the first round. Thus began the triumphant journey of the powerlifting legend into the world of MMA. With that performance, Pudzianowski had already become a looming threat to every heavyweight on the horizon. It wasn't just a spectacle, it was a statement of intent. 6 months later, in May 2010, Pudzianowski returned to the octagon, and he did it twice in a single month, showing unusual activity for a fighter of his size. First, the Polish machine steamrolled the monster from the land of the rising sun, Yusuke Kawaguchi, whom he tore apart like fresh sushi, showcasing his ability to overpower opponents with raw strength and surprising agility.
Mariusz Pudzianowski atakuje.
Ależ trafia teraz piekielne ciosy na głowę.
Biały Japończyk ręce pod ramionami Mariusza. I teraz Pudzianowski rozpuścił ręce i ruszył.
Cały czas napiera ciałem mocno. Zwycięstwo.
A my
3, 2,
będziemy czekali
1.
razem z nim. Koniec.
However, just 2 weeks later, Mariusz tasted the bitter sting of defeat for the first time in a no-holds-barred clash against former UFC champion Tim Sylvia. It was a fight where Sylvia's experience in boxing prevailed, proving that the transition from strongman to fighter still came with serious challenges. It was a valuable lesson for Mariusz, who came to understand that brute strength alone wasn't always enough.
Dojście do klinczu, Tim Sylvia broni się, jednak Mariusz dociska.
Kolanem trafił w głowę Pudzianowskiego. Pudzianowskiego. Sylwia poluje na kolejny ciosy i Sylwia może nie tylko poczuć, nie tylko zobaczyć tę krew, ale poczuć w tej chwili chce znokautować.
Na razie dobrze broni się Mariusz, zapina gardę, bardzo dobrze taktycznie rozegrana ta...
Łokciami na głowę Pudzianowskiego, ale z drugiej strony jest tylko 15 sekund. Trzeba wytrzymać tę pierwszą rundę. Kolano muszą się trzymać ręce rywala, ale wiele pozycja północ-południe na drugą stronę, drugiej strony i próba dojścia, czyżby do klucza? Nie.
By the end of 2010, the Titan's path was blocked by his complete opposite, the legendary Eric Butterbean Esh Butterbean, defying every stereotype about a fighter's physique, had dominated opponents in the ring as if they were McDonald's hamburgers, knocking them out in just a couple of rounds. After amassing an impressive collection of boxing victories, with a record of 77 wins, 10 losses, 4 draws, and 58 KOs, Butterbean transitioned into MMA. On the day of the fight, the ring could barely contain the two heavyweights, and fans eagerly awaited what was being hyped as the fight of the century. However, Pudzianowski didn't waste any time. He showcased his wrestling prowess, taking Butterbean to the ground and unleashing a barrage of hammer fists. It was a one-sided violence festival. The referee had to step in to stop the beating, saving Butterbean's bacon. This victory became a cornerstone in Mariusz's rise to the MMA Olympus.
Bijatyk jest, Butterbeana uciekać z narożnika. To powinien robić Pudzianowski.
Kick, pierwsza klasa, wejście do nogi, jest Mariusz z góry! Ależ
Pamiętał się w tej walce, no może jeszcze dźwignię pociągnie. Pudzianowski na górze.
Butterbean nie odpowiada na tę agresję. Jeżeli nie będzie odpowiadał, sędzia przerwie ten pojedynek. Koniec!
Drzewa umierają, stoją.
Following a brutal win over English colossus James Thompson, a fight where Pudzianowski demonstrated his evolution by taking Thompson down and dominating him despite his opponent's vast experience. Promoters set up the biggest fight of Mariusz's career so far. He would face none other than Bob Sapp.
Niecierpliwienia tak jakby był Pudzian pewny swoich możliwości. Kolos wie, że to jest jedyna okazja. Pójście na taką właśnie barową pijatykę. Pudzian atakuje. To
Nie wiem, Mariusz jakby z furią w oczach atakuje. Rozpoczęło się bardzo dobrze. Również ta sprawa opracował, owocowała.
że skrętu. Może to był cios wyprowadzany głównie z ręki.
Przydomny Anglik, ale wciąż.
Bob Sapp, a true beast seemingly straight out of a chemical laboratory, once struck fear into the hearts of martial arts legends with his ferocious strength and relentless aggression. Beyond his terrifying in-ring career, Sapp also lit up Hollywood movie sets, adding to his already massive persona. But behind the scenes, Bob carried a darker reputation, earning the nickname of a dirty rat raised on chemical enhancements. Before the highly anticipated fight, the brash Bob released a video mocking Mariusz, promising to turn Pudzianowski into a little girl. But the cold, focused gaze of Mariusz made it clear that the Polish Titan was ready to exterminate the rat, stepping into the role of Shredder. When the bell rang, the Titans unleashed a battle for every inch of the octagon, engaging in a savage close-quarters clash that kept fans on the edge of their seats. However, Pudzianowski quickly identified a weakness in Sapp's technique and began the public execution of the steroid-fueled giant.
I Pudziana rozpoczyna dewastującą pracę. Czy nie przerwać tej walki? Sapp na deskach. Pudzian atakuje. Blender patrzy.
Securing a dominant position, the strongman, almost as if meeting his daily protein quota, tenderized Sapp's face with hammer fists, leaving it looking like a rare steak. Not even the referee could stop the onslaught alone, forcing Sapp's corner to intervene and pull the furious Pudzianowski off their fallen fighter. In the end, Mariusz emerged victorious from the ring, sending Bob Sapp straight to the bottom of the MMA pit. From that moment on, the once feared monster had become a cowardly laughingstock. In 2012, Pudzianowski closed out the year with a fight against the Greek madman, Christos Piliaphos. Despite his Greek roots, Piliaphos possessed neither the body of Apollo nor the strength of Heracles, unlike Pudzianowski. Because of this, the Polish powerhouse ruthlessly disconnected Christos from reality in the very first round with a flurry of strikes, proving that his ground and pound was becoming increasingly lethal. In the summer of 2013, Mariusz faced for the first time a man who made him feel like a small fighter standing before a true giant. His opponent was the real-life colossus, whose every step echoed like the epicenter of an earthquake, Shawn McCorkle, also known as Big Sexy. Pudzianowski took this crucial fight very seriously and tried to demolish the upper floors of the giant with his heavy sledgehammers. The strongman sent McCorkle a priority ticket via Polish Airlines, straight to the ground, taking down this modern-day Gulliver. But even from this disadvantaged position, McCorkle attempted a kimura submission.
Jeszcze trzyma jedną nogę Pudziana, tak.
Głowę i znów idzie do swojego rywala. Pół garda.
Bardzo ładnie. Tą ilością ciosów zasypywał swojego rywala Mariusz Pudzianowski. 50 sekund. Jeżeli Mariusz tego nie chce, to musi pracować czasami, tak jak teraz.
Obalenie! Mariusz Pudzianowski!
Threatening to end the fight by making Mariusz tap. Just when it seemed that the Dominator had no way out, Mariusz rose from the dead. Exhausted, the Polish fighter found the strength to fight back and relentlessly introduced the poor guy's face to the ancient art of fist-to-face over and over again.
Zdecydowany, ale zdeterminowany, świetnie przygotowany Pudzianowski.
Poszli, ruszyli. Pudzianowski bije z dołu. Amerykanin chyba będzie musiał zaczaić się na jedną akcję. Te ciosy łoktowe w wykonaniu Pudziana trząsają głową.
Pudziana, a ten cały czas kapitalnie obija głowę.
Cóż za bek!
I kapitalna gala KSW. I jeszcze jedna akcja. I jeszcze jedno sprowadzenie.
In the end, after a brutal war, Pudzianowski emerged victorious by unanimous decision, showcasing incredible resilience. At the end of 2014, fate brought the strongman face-to-face with another pride of Poland, Paweł Nastula. Nastula is a living legend of judo, an Olympic champion who relentlessly sent each of his opponents to meet their maker on the tatami. Finding no more worthy competition in gripping, Nastula traded his GI for fight gloves and continued terrorizing his opponents inside the cage. And so, two national heroes clashed. The fight was evenly matched until Pudzianowski landed a brutal uppercut. Nastula had to desperately cling to consciousness and probably regretted signing the contract for the bout.
To ma być ten plan.
Wiedzą, że żaden z nich nie ma... Trafił Pudzianowski! Nastula na plecach! A Widać, że Mariusz odrobił tę lekcję.
But to the crowd's delight, the referee stood the fighters up from the ground, and the fight took on a new twist. By the second round, both men were suffering from oxygen deprivation. In a sudden turn, the Polish judoka locked the strongman in his signature move, the kimura. Mariusz could drag trucks, but escaping the deadly grip of a judo master was a whole different beast.
Lewym prosty.
I jeszcze odpowiada Pudzianowski.
Ale to wszystko naprawdę bardzo, bardzo blisko. Przestrzelił.
Ręka Pudziana czy lewa na Stuli nas. Stula, jeżeli będzie. Do
I
góry.
wyniesienie.
Ostrożnie.
Przetoczenie.
Jeszcze próba I klasyczna akcja. Żebra, głowa.
Still, Pudzianowski managed to break free and began to show the beauty of his grappling, smashing his opponent's body against the canvas until the final bell, dominating from the control position.
Była ogromna szansa dla Nastuli. Stuli, ale nieudana. Północ-południe.
Pana Stuli, którą doskonale poznałem wielokrotnie na treningach. Nie!
Pudzianowski się
Polaca,
broni.
nie!
Zerwał to Pudzianowi.
Jest, śwignia! Walczy o Polakę na Stuli!
Dawać te ciosy, aby sędziowie zauważyli. Jeden hammer fist, drugi w tył głowy nie wolno.
The two-round ordeal finally ended for Nastula, but outside the cage, another battle unfolded. The judges, seemingly trying to rob the strongman, called for an extra round. In the final round, Pudzianowski gave his opponent no chance, living up to his nickname, the Dominator, and securing a confident win over the judo legend.
Pudzianowskiego. Absolutnie
Jest Musi pracować Paweł, jeżeli chce coś ugrać w tym pojedynku. Świetnie rozpoczął rundę.
Żebra, głowa. Otwarte usta Pawła Nastuli, który łap umiejętności takiej wielkiej chęci. A Pudzianowski znów stara się tym kolanem właśnie obalić
Pawła na stule.
To są sekundy dzielące Pawła Nastulę od zakończenia kariery.
After collecting several victories, the superstar, not just of powerlifting, but also of MMA, Mariusz Pudzianowski stepped into the cage against a submission master and giant from the legendary Gracie clan, Rolls Gracie Jr. The Brazilian towered over Pudzianowski, but the world's strongest man was unfazed, and within moments, he stunned everyone. The Polish beast fed Gracie a steady diet of punches, sending him to the realm of Morpheus with a swift technical knockout in the first round.
Inaczej zbudowany niż Mariusz Pudzianowski, mistrzem nokautu!
It was a bold statement against one of the most respected lineages in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. However, in the following KSW tournaments, the world's strongest man's impressive streak of 4 consecutive victories was interrupted by disappointing defeats at the hands of Peter Graham and Marcin Rogalski. These losses, though painful, revealed Mariusz's vulnerability and pushed him to further refine his striking and grappling skills.
Szykuje tego prawego luja, a będzie sprowadzenie! Taki boty, ale Pudziana.
Sytuacja jest niewesoła, dlatego że nie bardzo Mariusz Pudzianowski nie jest w stanie także w tej chwili paraliżować rąk rywala.
W głowę Pudziana, tak jak teraz. Zwalił się, idzie po zwycięstwo w main evencie.
Mnóstwo takiego. Ten stara się wstać. Wyciągnął. Pudzianowski łapie do góry jeszcze raz.
After 2 tough defeats, Pudzianowski returned to the cage on December 3, 2016, and an extraordinary dark horse emerged on the horizon, drawing special attention. Paweł Popek Monster Mikołajów, a famous rapper who thrilled audiences on stage with his music, but behind the scenes he was rapping in a different way. This other side of him turned out to be a worthy adversary for the world's strongest man. Even at the press conference, the tension was palpable, with both fighters ready to tear each other apart. But what happened inside the cage was even more shocking. From the opening bell, the Dominator charged forward. It was as if a predator had cornered its prey. Mariusz, looking to assert his dominance, continued launching powerful kicks.
To co tu się dzieje w momencie, kiedy obaj wchodzili do klatki.
Wisi na włosku. I prawy! Nie wierzę w to, co widzę!
But in a split second, a wild punch from Mikołajów forced the powerlifting king to drop to a knee, leaving the crowd in stunned silence and casting doubt on the Titan's victory. It was a moment of shock that tested Pudzianowski's resilience. But then Mariusz realized it was time to activate a plan to ferociously erase his opponent's tattoos, unleashing a brutal barrage of strikes.
95% tutaj. Pudzian powinien Popka pozamiatać. Tylnych ciosów Pudziana. Popek. No zobaczymy, jak poradzi sobie teraz pod presją tych...
Fortunately for Mikołajów, the referee saved his life, stepping in and handing his body directly over to the doctor to stop the fight. In the spring of 2017, a shadow of doubt hung over Mariusz. For standing in his way was a true warrior, Tiberius Kowalczyk, whose terrifying knockouts stirred the imagination. What intrigued everyone even more were his past accomplishments in powerlifting, where he had given our hero a worthy challenge, at one point even earning the title of the strongest man in Poland. This fact inevitably caught the attention of Mariusz's fans. Would it be another impressive victory or a tragic fall? The fight began with Mariusz showing control, quickly taking Kowalczyk down to the mat. But apparently, Kowalczyk didn't like close combat and, like a raging bull, started breaking through Mariusz's defense with powerful strikes.
Wydawało mi się, że Mariusz Kowalczyk zaatakuje. Teraz przechwycenie, jest klamra do góry.
Yet, in the following moments, Mariusz made a move that proved who the real king was, literally knocking out all of Kowalczyk's confidence with kiloton punches.
Potężnym kopnięciem i w tej chwili chyba sprawił walka pięści bez żadnej obrony. Bójka w tej chwili potężna i wymieni rywalowi jakiś problem. Pudzianowski jest walny.
In the second round, Mariusz saw fear in Kowalczyk's eyes. It seemed time to prepare a coffin because moments later, Mariusz began cooking a steak for dinner and for dessert turned Kowalczyk's face into strawberry jam with a brutal ground and pound. It was a submission by strikes that demonstrated Pudzianowski's superiority.
Krocznął. I jeszcze raz, znowu słania się na...
Znaczy będzie widać także w tym pojedynku trafił Pudzianowski w tej chwili ciosami młotkowymi chce ubić.
Fajterom, żeby zadbali o aktywność. Andrzej przypomnij ciężarem. Leży na nim i teraz potężny łokieć i klepie. Mariusz
Pudzian!
Recently, Mariusz scored a majority decision victory over Jay Silva, a UFC experienced veteran.
Lewą i ten prawy potężny prawy. Silva w tej chwili kontroluje prawą rękę Pudzianowskiego.
But then a streak of misfortune began. First, the strongman lost to Karol Bedorf.
Bit by bit, like a Lego build. Pudzianowski now goes for the shoot and the takedown. Pudzianowski is
Crank, but he's going to go for that Kimura. There's the tap.
There's the tap out! Karol Bedorf!
And then, in a dramatic fight with Szymon Kołecki, Mariusz suffered a serious injury that seemed to put an end to his career.
Eksplozywny.
Techniki w wykonaniu Pudziana. Warto oglądać tę walkę.
Idzie po nogi, proszę! Nie takie sztangi się wyrywało.
Koniec walki.
However, Mariusz didn't stop. He literally transcended himself. After a long and difficult rehabilitation, the veteran chose a relentless and knockout-hungry Bosnian artist, Erko Jun, as his next opponent. The young prospect, possessing extraordinary strength, was destined to be a real test to see if Mariusz had lost the fire that once burned in his eyes. In the main event of the night, Mariusz Pudzianowski decided from the start not to tempt fate with the young prospect and took Jun down to the mat. For the rest of the round, he tried to leave his opponent's face imprinted on the canvas with his hammer-like fists.
Into his own. He'll be looking for the strikes in the hands of Pudzianowski as Jun lands the strikes.
Space where he wants it, but this is what he did. Come on, double unders.
Pudzian's office. He's got a hook in, and look at him go to work in.
Shot in. Credit to Jun. It's been good mitigation thus far.
But in the second round, another takedown attempt nearly cost Mariusz the fight. Jun, comfortably settling in, unfairly grabbed the cage to maintain control while unleashing a hellish ground and pound.
This time Jun gets on top, and this is where the pain starts. Now the pain. Erko Jun, round to happen. Mariusz Pudzianowski now in a way.
However, the referee, with a quick and fair intervention, stopped the foul, not allowing Jun to change the course of the fight. By that point, Pudzianowski was already tired, and Jun managed to regain the initiative, outstriking Mariusz with skill. But it turned out to be a true masterclass in strategy by Mariusz. He cleverly confused Jun, made him lose focus, and at the perfect moment, with incredible precision, sent his opponent's rear to the mat with a powerful takedown.
It's all foul, Will. Jun's going to go for it here. He smells the finish. Pudzian on the ropes, on the wire.
Pudzianowski to pass, and I think this marked the beginning of the end here for Erko.
Punching. Referee giving a warning here. This looks close.
With 3 minutes on the clock, the Dominator took the top position without hesitation, and his fists, like brushes, painted Jun's face with a bloody hue. It was a victory that once again demonstrated Pudzianowski's tenacity. Another opponent was the true cholesterol giant, Nikola Milanovic, who apparently decided to prove that a pile of fat was just as good as a mountain of muscle. But when Milanovic charged at Pudzianowski as if he saw a hot dog in front of him, the Dominator expertly took the dominant position and began turning the hefty fighter into a prime-cut steak with a relentless beating. In the end, Pudzianowski won and proudly pointed to his chest, reminding everyone where their focus should be, on him.
Trzymał się siatki, a w tej chwili jest szansa na to, żeby wynik tego pojedynku był
Mariusz Pudzian! Pudzian!
In the summer of 2021, the Polish Titan challenged a compatriot whose name had become synonymous with monstrous strength and an unmatched knockout art. Around him emerged a true cult figure, known for his incredible ability to step into the ring 3 times in one night and send his opponents into sweet dreams with each fight, constantly claiming victory. That man was Łukasz "Urus" Jurkowski, and his mere presence in the ring meant one thing: defeat for anyone who dared to challenge him. The fight took place on June 5th at the iconic Ergo Arena. As soon as the bell rang, the giant wasted no time, ready to test Jurkowski's muscular endurance. However, Jurkowski responded by switching to Ninja Assassin mode, moving so fast it looked like a player smashing every button trying to land a fatality.
Ma lewy prosty, który ma być ta broń, która ma powstrzymywać Pudzianowskiego. Te kolana Jeszcze raz próba.
Więcej tej sportowej aktywności.
Still, these strikes seemed to enrage Mariusz, as he saw them as a serious underestimation of his abilities. After a well-timed kick, Pudzianowski quickly took Jurkowski down and followed up with brutal elbows.
Lepszej sytuacji już nie będzie miał. No już jakieś sukcesy zanotował Jurkowski. Przekonać sędziów, że to jemu należy się zwycięstwo w tej rundzie.
In the second round, Jurkowski surprised everyone, nearly sending Mariusz to the land of dreams with a powerful blow.
Jeżeli znów zdaje się, że te low kicki robią.
Poniosła chyba fantazja Jurasa, bo zdecydował się na takie techniki, które są ryzykowne właśnie.
Wykroczony.
Aczkolwiek widzieliśmy już przecież Jurasa w dużych tarapach.
Teraz starał się przyspieszyć, ta prawa ręka coraz częściej styka się z głową Jurkowskiego. Za chwilę pewnie trafi obrotów.
But the strongman, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, launched a fierce counterattack, displaying brutal dominance. In the end, Pudzianowski brutally dismantled Jurkowski, leaving not only his face battered, but also extinguishing his desire to continue his sports career.
Będzie, żeby Łukasz to przed.
Pojedynek, którego spodziewali się fani, bo tutaj stoi
Zbicia rywala i skończenia tej walki przed. Ręce wykluczone, koniec walki. Mariusz Pudzianowski.
After such a one-sided beating, the Dominator only suffered 2 more losses in his recent career. First against Mamed Khalidov, a Polish MMA legend, and then against Artur Szpilka in the second round. However, despite all setbacks, Mariusz did not stop. He continues chasing his passion, doing what he loves. Now, looking at the incredible career of Mariusz Pudzianowski, we can say with confidence, this man not only defeated his opponents in the ring, he defeated his own destiny. He went from being the most recognized strongman in the world to a respected MMA fighter, a testament to his unbreakable mindset and legendary determination. Friends, if you enjoyed this journey through the life and fights of Mariusz Dominator Pudzianowski, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. This was your channel name. See you next time.